Hello and welcome to Narayana IS. My name is Abhijit Srivastav and I am here to discuss today's episode of Daily News Analysis. So let's quickly discuss the major articles that we are going to discuss here. Firstly, in page number 9 of the Hindu Delhi edition, there is an article providing clean water to all. This article is discussing about Jal Jeevan Mission. This article is written by our Union Minister for Jal Shakti Ministry, and this article is showcasing various aspects of Jal Jeevan Mission and its importance for our rural development, its importance to our lives of the people of India. The second article is in the page number Science 2 of the Hindu. It talks about the urgent need for data to make personalized medicine equitable. So there are certain biases in our medical researches, and most of them towards the European countries and against the Asian and African countries, and which are creating havoc to African and Asian countries. So that is the article we are going to discuss. Third article is a GST less taxing, that is there in the page number 13 of Indian Express, the Delhi edition. This talks about various anomalies which are there in the GST regime and which is causing more number of litigation, and that is why this simple tax structure is becoming more complex. Next article is in the page number 14 of the Hindu. Center releases 3-drug regime for treating leprosy. So we'll understand what is leprosy, how it is affecting our lives, how it is getting spread, and what are the measures that we can take to resolve the leprosy. Okay. Next is in the page number 16, the Hindu. This article is important from prelims point of view. We'll see what are the places that are there in the news. So let's discuss. So the first article for today's discussion is providing clean water to all. This whole article is associated with one scheme, that is Jal Jeevan Mission, which was launched in 2019 by Government of India. After almost 5 years of this scheme, Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, the Union Minister for Jal Shakti Ministry, has came up with one assessment report of this scheme. Why this scheme or this availability of water or water issue is related to our UPSC exam. There is a topic in GS paper 1, population and associated issue. Niti Aayog, in one of its report, claims that availability, accessibility and affordability of water will be going to become one of the biggest challenge for our population, specifically to the marginalized section. Another topic, poverty and developmental issues. What paradigm of development we have chosen is going to impact or has impacted already our water resources. How? For example, green revolution. This green revolution is over exploiting our water resources, and not just over exploitation. Along with certain industries, this green revolution is also polluting our water resources, and it is creating a hurdle in ensuring regular and clean water supply to our population, specifically to marginalized section, right? In GS paper 2, there is a topic, interventions for development in various sectors. Water and sanitation are the most important two pillars to ensure health in our population, without which we are creating unnecessary burden on our public health infrastructure. This topic is also having a gender dimension to it. How? In traditional gender division of labor setup, this whole collection of water for household purposes was given to women. And a lot of women labor was indulged into it. After successful completion of this whole scheme, we can change the gender dynamics in totality. So let's discuss previous year question to understand the importance of this whole issue. In 2020, UPSC asked this question: what are the salient features of Jal Shakti Abhiyan launched by the government of India for water conservation and water security. So they were concerned more towards water conservation and water security, but it has also socio-economic significances. So let's discuss context first, and then we'll see what are the dimensions that are associated with this issue. So as we have already discussed, after completion of 5 years, the writer, that is Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, is discussing the positive aspects or positive impacts of this Jal Jeevan mission on various rural regions of India, and he is also discussing significant improvements in the lives of people, right? So what is this Jal Jeevan mission all about? As we have already discussed, it was launched in 2019 and it envisioned a minimum level of regular and safe drinking water supply to the rural households. So to be very precise, it wanted to supply 55 liters of water per person per day to every rural household through functional household tap connection. This functional household tap connection is important to ensure regular water supply to the households. This JGM also looks to create a Jan Andolan. Why this Jan Andolan is important? Nowadays, you might have seen that government is more interested in creating Jan Andolan for various issues. For example, for Sakshata, for water issues. So government are more interested in creating Jan Andolan. The reason is earlier, because of some socialistic compulsions, because of bureaucratic structure, the whole schemes were implemented and planned by the bureaucracy itself. People were supposed to be beneficiaries only. People were supposed to be beneficiaries only. And because of which, the whole scheme was based upon the grace of bureaucrats, which created a rent-seeking attitude, and because of which corruption evolved. And that is why now we are trying to make people a part of these andolans, these schemes, right? So that is why JJM was looking to create a Jan Andolan. The nodal ministry of Jal Jeevan Mission is Jal Shakti Ministry, but in 2021-2022 budget, the government came up with urban counterpart of this scheme, Jal Jeevan Mission, which was announced under Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. The major goal of this whole scheme was to achieve United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6, that is clean water and sanitation for all. What are the guiding principles for this Jal Jeevan Mission? Firstly, the development. Development includes 4 elements. One is availability. Second is accessibility. Third is affordability. And lastly, awareness. The second pillar is inclusive growth, which includes SVVP, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas. Sabka Saath means inclusivity in planning and development. Sabka Vikas means inclusivity in development and growth. Sabka Vishwas, which means we are ensuring social contract with the help of developing trust in the minds of people vis-a-vis government. And Sabka Prayas means effort should be given by each and every stakeholders. And the third pillar is good governance, which incorporates transparency and accountability in the whole process, right? So let's understand objectives. In whole water supply management, there are 3 elements. One is the source, second is the supply chain, and third is the target. Target can be household, target can be agricultural sector, right? So we need to ensure the rejuvenation and the sustainability of water resources. We need to ensure the functionality of the supply chain. And third, we have to understand or we have to take care of the target and the after product or the byproducts that they are giving, and we need to ensure to reach it to the correct position. For example, if they are producing grey water, then this grey water should be curated and reach to the source again, right? So that we can ensure the circular water economy. So as far as rural part is concerned, the objectives were: mission ensures functionality of existing water supply system and water connections, water quality monitoring and testing, as well as sustainable agriculture. It also ensures conjunctive use of conserved water, drinking water resource augmentation, drinking water supply system, and grey water treatment and its use. For urban counterpart, the objectives were securing tap and sewer connections, rejuvenation of water bodies, and creating circular water economy. Now, what are the features of this scheme? It integrated the demand and supply management of water at local level. Secondly, it created a local infrastructure to rejuvenate the water sources such as rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge, and management of household water waste for the reuse purposes, right? And also, it undertaken convergence of various other governments programs and schemes, right? Also, based on community approach, this scheme also intended to provide information and it wanted to sensitize people regarding water issues. How it is being implemented? There were certain committees created such as Pani Samitis. They plan, implement, manage and operate and maintain village water supply system. So at Gram Sabha level, these Pani Samitis or water and sanitation management committees were created and they planned and implement accordingly. This plan samiti consisted 10 to 15 members with at least 50% of women and other members from self-help groups, accredited social and health workers, Anganwadi teachers, etc. Right? These committees prepare one-time village action plan, merging all available village resources. The plan is approved in Gram Sabha before implementation. This is how all this scheme was implemented. The funding structure was like for Himalayan and northeastern state, the fund share between center and state was 19:10. For other state, it was 50-50, and for union territories, fund was 100% given by the central government. According to the writer, this scheme was helpful in socio-economic development because it was focusing on rural development, it was focusing on community development, and it has gender parity, or it was focusing also on gender parity, right? This scheme was also helpful in averting deaths in Delhi. What is Delhi? Delhi stands for Disability Adjusted Life Years. What is this concept? Let me explain. Let's suppose there is a person X and that person can live up to Y years. But because of some disease Z, that person is not living productively to the Y years. Either that person is facing disability or he had faced premature death. So this loss of productivity in terms of year is called as disability adjusted life years. And the writer has quoted several studies to substantiate his argument. One study was created by Dr. Kremers. Dr. Kremer was a Nobel laureate, and according to this study, this scheme or the safe water availability can reduce 30% infant mortality rate and up to 25% under 5 mortality rate. According to one study conducted by WHO, this scheme or the safe water availability can prevent up to 4 lakh deaths per year because of diarrhea. This scheme has also potential to create employment, so it is also helpful in employment generation. An estimate says that scheme has potential to create 60 lakh person years direct employment and at least 2.2 crore person year indirect employment. One sub scheme. Under this scheme, there was also a sub scheme, that is Nal Jal Mitra scheme, and it was intended to create skill development in the rural sector, right? So this is how it is helpful in employment generation as well. We have already discussed that this scheme is also focusing on gender equality. It is also focusing on community involvement, and this scheme is also showcasing the transparency and efficiency in the governance. How? There is a water quality management information system which is bringing transparency in the process of schemes, in the process of this whole scheme, right? But there are challenges which is remaining. First is slippage issue. What is the slippage issue? According to 2018 CAG report, CAG argued that the people, there is a, according to 2018 CAG report, it argues there is a traditional challenge in water supply management schemes in India. Once a person is covered under this scheme or certain particular scheme, it slipped back to partially covered or not covered after some course of time, right? So this is a slippage issue. The slippage issue is directly related with the unsustainability of water resources. Why? Because we are more dependent on the groundwater sources, and because of this over dependency of the groundwater resources, what we are witnessing after this, either this groundwater is extracted completely or it is becoming a source of pollution. People are not now covered under particular scheme. Now they are uncovered or partially covered. Also, there is a problem of pollution in the groundwater sources or other water resources. There is also problem of water governance in our system. For example, there is a recent incident in the Mirzapur district, and what happened? Some miscreants damaged the pipeline supplying water to the village, leaving the water problem back to the one. Such instances are very frequent, and these incidences are posing a very serious challenge in the implementation of Jal Jeevan mission. So that is why we have to work more on the governance issues as well. So what is the future outlook? The mission's roadmap envisions overcoming water scarcity, engaging people to take care of water assets, and remaining positive about achieving drinking water targets. But we have to focus more on the water governance part as well. Let's look into another article which talks about the urgent need for data to make personalized medicine equitable. This whole article raises various concerns over the researches which are going around in terms of precision medicine. So why this is important? It is related with the India's genome mission. It is also related with the prelims and mains. There is a topic science and technology, under which there is a topic biotechnology. So let's understand context first. There is a medicine named as warfarin. It's a very powerful blood thinner, right? And it's helpful in cardiovascular diseases. But recently, we see certain anomalies. We see adverse impacts on people of South Africa because of this warfarin. And therefore, this article is arguing that this anomaly that we are witnessing is because of biases in the researches that is there in the precision medicine. So first, understand the precision medicine, and then we'll see the various biases. What is precision medicine? Let's suppose you have genomic sequence of a particular population. Also, you have medical record of that particular population. Now you know what kind of medicine will be impactful on that particular population, how it is going to impact, whether it's positive impact, or negative impact or zero impact or neutral. So everything you know about a particular population, right? You have all the data, all the records, and on the basis of that record or data, you are creating medicines for that particular segment of the society or for that particular population. So this is kind of precision medicine, right? So precision medicine or precision healthcare is a medical care that take advantage of large data sets of individuals such as genome and their entire electronic health record to tailor their health care to their unique attributes, right? So how it is working? See, firstly, you cannot take data of whole population. So that is why you do some certain sampling, and you take record, you take previous record, health record or genome record of that particular sample. You collect data and you see impact of various ingredients on that particular genome or on that particular segment of population. You describe it, you curate it, and when you analyze it, you came up with certain reports. What is the goal of precision medicine? It facilitates discovery of science, discovery of new medicines. Also, more efficient clinical research can be possible with the help of this precision medicine. It, after validation of findings, more precision information or more precise information to improve healthcare can be done, right? So what are the advantage of precision medicine? Firstly, if you know the impact of a particular medicine or a particular chemical on a particular person, you can prevent the disease, you can protect the disease, or you can protect that person, and you can detect the diseases, right? So prevention, protection, and detection can be occurred, right? So you can tailor the interventions and personalized treatment can be possible. You can enhance the disease prevention through accurate risk prediction. Also, you can innovate trial design and validate personalized intervention adapting to individual responses. Also, you can integrate certain advanced technologies such as precision medicine integrates technologies like cellular avatars and health monitoring for improved diagnostic and early detection, right? So, why this precision medicine is important? Because if you are not doing precision medicine, that means you are accepting the whole population as a single entity, as a single unit, and you are using this one fit for all strategy. So data shows that it creates serious adverse events on the population. But on the other hand, if you are using precision medicine, it has good efficiency and it has a very less serious adverse events, right? But while doing this precision healthcare or while creating precision medicine, we need good quality of data. There is the importance of good quality data because accurate risk assessment and reliable prediction can be done when we do or when we collect good quality data. If robust trial outcomes is presented by that data integrity can be ensured. Also, effective treatment strategies and personalized treatment plans can be molded, can be created with the help of good quality data, right? And if we are collecting good quality data, then it will increase, it will build trust of patient in the healthcare system as well. But here comes the challenges in this medical research data, right? Firstly, there is a regional variation in drug responses. Like, for example, a particular drug can be useful for people in North America or European countries, but at the same time, that particular medicine cannot be helpful for African or Asian people, right? So there is a regional variation in drug responses. Also, various researches which are going on this precision medicine, they have certain biases and they are collecting data mostly from the European countries. So these drugs, these medicines are tailored for the European countries and not made for the South African or African countries or Asian countries. So this is the biggest problem. Also, the whole data is collected only for men. So there is a gender disparity as well. So let's understand the challenges of medical research data. Regional variation in the drug responses. We have already seen the warfarin and its impact. There is a research bias, dominance of research on men of Northern European origin. It neglects the negative drug gene interaction in other populations such as Africa and Asia. There is a genetic information and drug doses. Precision medicine won't work if a person's genetic variants have never been identified or studied in the first place. So, if we are doing sampling and we are collecting data for the sample, if that sample is not the representative of whole population, so we cannot identify various genetic variants and impacts on those genetic variation of a particular medicine. So that is why this genetic variation is also important to collect, right? Further, there is a role of genetic variants CYP2D6. There is an example of that particular argument that this CYP2D6 gene is a very significant in fastening drug metabolism and impacts drug effectiveness and risk, right? The previous point can be substantiated with this example, the role of genetic variants CYP2D6 example, right? So CYP2D6 is a gene, right? And it's very helpful in fastening the drug metabolism and impacts drug effectiveness and risks, right? So there's a gene, right? And because of these genes, codeine was a drug. It gets metabolized in a very expedite manner. It's a very fast pace, right? And because of which Ethiopia recently banned this codeine for all its population, because a high proportion of population in the country, almost 30%, have a genetic variant of CYP2D6 that makes them quickly metabolizes that drug into morphine, making it more likely to cause respiratory disease and even death, right? So that is why Ethiopia has banned this particular medicine. Also, there is a data disparities in genome-wide studies. There is a skewed participation in direct-to-consumer genetic sequencing services that we have already seen. While there had been seen some improvement in diversity since 2009, still 81% of the early 35 million samples in those studies came from the European descendants. There's a gender biases that we have already discussed in drug studies as well. There's an inadequate representation of women in drug effectiveness studies. So all are their challenges. So what could be the way forward? Firstly, we need to put some efforts to address the issue for diversity, right? And secondly, we have to accept, we need not to misinterpret the issue that there is a genetic mutation. We have to accept the biases in the researches, and accordingly we have to work. The UN Covenant on Right to Enjoy Benefits of Scientific Progress must be realized in this case. Let's discuss another article which states a GST less taxing. What is GST? It stands for Goods and Services Tax. It was introduced by 101st Constitutional Amendment Act 2016, and it is a value added taxation system. That means only those parts to which you have added certain value, only that part should be taxed, right? Okay. It is applicable on the goods and services which are consumed domestically, right? Okay. So it's a value added tax. It's consumed domestically. Also, it's a supply side tax. What is this supply side tax? there are three stages of product cycle. One is manufacturing, another is distribution, and third is supply, right? So it's not applicable on the manufacturing side, rather it's applicable on supply side. Like the consumer, the end consumer will pay the taxes, right? So it's also destination based taxation system. For example, if a product is manufactured in Maharashtra and it is sent to UP for sale and some person purchased in UP, then tax will be levied by the UP itself, right? Also, it has a dual structure, like some taxation will be done by state, so that is SGST, and some taxation will be done by central government, so this is CGST, and the base will be the same for both of the GST structure. For interstate goods transfer, there will be IGST, which will be applied by center but appropriated by the state, right? There is a council which was created with the help of Article 279A, which was introduced by 101 Constitutional Amendment Act, that is known as GST Council, just to take major decision or every decision on the GST. So this GST regime was brought to rationalize the taxation in India, just to make taxation structure simple, right? But this article is arguing that there are many loopholes, and because of these loopholes, because of these issues, this simplified taxation structure is becoming more complex, right? So this is, we have to understand under this article. Why this article is important for UPSC exam? Because it is focusing more on issues in GST regime, and there is a topic in GS paper 3, resource mobilization, under which we can put GST. Okay, so let's understand previous year question and see the importance of this topic. There was a question in 2017 which was asking to explain the salient feature of Constitution 101st Amendment Act 2016, that is GST. Do you think it is efficacious enough to remove cascading effect of taxes and provide for common national market for goods and services? So let's understand the context which is put up by the article. Article says that the burden of litigations pertaining to various aspects of GST, because of certain aspects of GST, there are certain litigation. And because of these litigations, the major intention behind GST, that is to make taxation system simple, now it is becoming more complex. So this whole GST regime is becoming more complex. So what are the issues that are being identified by the writer? First is reconciliation issue and return mismatch. Understand this. There are two persons who are interacting with each other. One is buyer, another is seller, right? Buyer giving invoices, seller is giving bill. And while filing the return, both invoices and bills should be matched, right? There should be a coherence between invoices and the bills that are put up in the GST portal, right? But it has been found there is a lot of mismatch between invoices and bills because of several reasons. Maybe there are vested interests, maybe there are certain schemes under which they are covered, but there are mismatches, and because of these mismatches, the litigations are increasing. Next is ITC. What is ITC? Input tax credit. What is input tax credit? It's offsetting GST liability. What does it mean? Let's suppose there are three players in an economy. One is A, another is B, and lastly C, right? A is producing a product which is worth 100 rupees, and after taxation, let's suppose 10% is a taxation rate. After taxation, it becomes 110 input for B, right? After certain value addition, B is selling this, the final product, for 200 to the next player, which is C, with the 10% tax. Now it become 220 for C, right? Now C is giving 10 rupees extra for this product, for which B has already paid, right? So B will be getting 10 rupees input tax credit, so that the tax burden on the final consumer can be reduced. So this is input tax credit. But the article is pointing that there is the ITC denial for suppliers defaults. How? Let's suppose there is a supplier A, and that person is supplying some product to B, right? And if A is not filing the GST, B will not get the input tax credit. Also, let's suppose A is getting delayed by filing certain tax returns, right? In that case also, B is not getting the input tax credit. So there are certain litigations which are increasing because of this mismatch as well. Third issue that has been raised by this article is classification dispute arising out of differential tax rate. For example, let's suppose you are a chai wala. You are purchasing milk from a milkman, or you can also purchase milk from direct retailers in form of solid milk, right? Both the products are same. Both the products are working in the same fashion, but there is a differential kind of taxation in terms of both the cases. Let's suppose there is a 5% taxation rate for milkman, and there is a 10% taxation for solid milk. So it is creating unnecessary confusion in case of differential rate of taxes. So this is another kind of problems that is being observed by the article. Next is lack of understanding of new laws and procedure. Every time when GST Council meets, it does hundreds of changes, right? And because of which a lot of confusion is there in the minds of CA as well as the people who are filing the returns. Also, there are numerous retrospective amendments that are being done by GST Council, and that is also creating certain confusion. Sometimes it has been observed that GST portal, due to some technical glitches or frequent technical glitches, is not working properly, and that is how it is creating more litigations. Further, there is a first appellate authority simply confirming the order of lower authorities, right? Also, there is no GST appellate tribunal in place for relief to be obtained, and that is why it is creating more litigation in the higher courts. Lastly, there is a defective drafting of the relevant statutory provisions, because of which government cannot increase the strength of CESTAT. What does it mean? Central Excise and Sales Taxation Appellate Tribunal, right? So that is why it is not possible for the government to increase the strength of existing CSTAT, right? And disputes were referred to the authority for advance ruling, and appeals have been filed to the appellate authority for advance ruling. Most of these rulings are adverse to the assesses, and the efficacy of the mechanism, which is manned only by official, is questioned. So what could be the way forward? Firstly, Sabka Vishwas Legacy Dispute Resolution Scheme 2019 should be strengthened and should be followed in future. Second, GST Dispute Settlement Scheme, that is a flat payment of 33% of the disputed tax amount with a complete waiver of interest and penalty, should be given. This way forward or the solution is given by the article. The scheme must provide for the usual immunity from penalty and prosecution. Also, lesser amount on account of any retrospective liability should be there. So all these way forwards or solution are there in the article. Let's discuss another article which is important for prelims examination. It states center releases 3-drug regimen for treating leprosy. So it talks about leprosy, the strategy which is being followed by government to eradicate leprosy, right? Why it's important for UPSC exam? Because it can come under prelims examination. So let's have a look over previous year prelims question. Which one of the following statement is not correct? Hepatitis V virus is transmitted much like HIV. That is correct. Hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have a vaccine. It's wrong statement because hepatitis B has a vaccine, or we have a vaccine for hepatitis B. Globally, the number of people infected with hepatitis B and C viruses are several times more than those infected with HIV. This is correct. Some of those infected with hepatitis B and C viruses do not show symptom for many years. This is also correct statement. So question is asking for not correct. So B is the right answer. What is the context? The Union government has approved new 3-drug regimen for possibacillary leprosy cases. Earlier, it was 2-drug regimen. Why? Because firstly, we want to ensure there will not be any case of vaccine by 2027. Thirdly, it is in line with WHO guidelines, also in line with the international standards. So let's understand something about leprosy disease. It is caused by a bacteria known as Bacterium Mycobacterium leprae. It transmitted because of respiratory droplets during close and prolonged contact with untreated cases, not as highly contagious as once believed. So earlier it was believed that it's highly contagious, but not as believed. But if there is a prolonged contact, it can cause leprosy. There is no specific vaccine available for this disease. Also, slit skin smear is the standard test for leprosy. So, slit skin smear, triple S, is important for prelims examination. It's curable with appropriate and timely treatment. As earlier, it was believed that it's incurable, but it's curable. Most patients who complete the prescribed course achieve full recovery, right? Curable with multi-drug therapy. WHO recommends drug like dapsone, rifampicin, and clofazimine. Impact: primarily it affects the skin, nerves, and mucous membranes. It is not detected and treated as the early stages. It can cause permanent disabilities and deformities as well. So what are the achievements so far? Prevalence rate of leprosy has come down from 0.69 per 10,000 population in 2014-15 to 0.45 in 2021-2022. Annual new cases detection rate per 1 lakh population has also come down from 9.73 in 2014-15 to 5.52 in 2021-2022. Government vision to achieve zero transmission of leprosy by 2027, that is 3 years ahead of the Sustainable Development Goal 3.3. What is the 3-drug regime that we have already seen? It incorporates 3 drugs in comparison to early practice, that is we are giving 2 drugs. So now 1 drug has been added, clofazimine. Earlier it was dapsone and rifampicin. Why 3-drug regimen is important? We have discussed. It is in line with the international standard and WHO prescription. Also, it is in line with our targets to eradicate leprosy by 2027. What are the government measures that has been taken to eradicate leprosy? Firstly, vision. Government came up with vision, national strategic plan and roadmap for leprosy 2023-2027 and national guidelines for antimicrobial resistance surveillance, right? There is also a comprehensive program to eradicate leprosy, National Leprosy Eradication Program. Other recent initiatives includes 2 campaigns such as Active Case Detection Campaign and Focused Leprosy Campaign. Also, there is a surveillance system for ASA-based surveillance for leprosy suspects. Also, there is a portal, Nicost 2.0 portal, which tries to create a surveillance over this leprosy disease. Also, there is a welfare allowance for disformity of almost 8 to 12,000 rupees. So, the last article for today's discussion is North Korea fires several cruise missiles towards Yellow Sea. This article is important from prelims point of view and places in news. So, let's understand this topic from previous year question point of view. In 2020, UPSC asked this question, consider the following pairs. Which of the pairs given above is are correctly matched? Mekong, it flows into South China Sea, so this is wrong. Thames, which flows to North Sea, so this is also wrong. Volga, Caspian Sea, this is correct. Zambezi, Indian Ocean, so this is also correct. So, correct answer would be 3 and 4. So, what is the context? Context is North Korea fired several cruise missiles towards the Yellow Sea. So, we have to understand the location of Yellow Sea. So, Yellow Sea is surrounded by South Korea, whose capital is Seoul, North Korea, whose capital is Pyongyang, and the China, whose capital is Beijing, right? So, all these three countries are surrounding Yellow Sea. Major rivers, Huanghe River, this is the second longest river of China. It flows into Bohai Sea, which is the northern extension of Yellow Sea. So, if option comes like Huanghe River flows into Yellow Sea, so this is also correct. Yangtze River, it flows to East China Sea. So, these are the important places or locations that we have to keep in our mind, right? So, let's move forward. The Yellow Sea is bordered by China, North Korea, and South Korea. We have already seen. It is named for the yellowish sand originating from the Yellow River, which flows into Yellow Sea. It is one of the largest shallow areas of continental shelf globally, with an average depth of 44 meters and maximum depth of 152 meters. That information is not very important, but just to show you, it's the largest shallow area of continental shelf. The sea is 870 kilometers long and 556 kilometers wide. It is an arm of Pacific Ocean and merges with East China Sea off the eastern and southeastern coast of Asia. Rivers that are draining into Yellow Sea important are Chongchon, Haihe, Liao, Taedong, Yalu, and Yellow River. Yellow River is most important here. So, this was all. Let's move to the practice questions. So, let's start with prelims practice question. The first question is, consider the following statements. The authority for advanced ruling is a statutory body that interprets the tax laws. That is correct statement. The GST is aimed at removing the cascading effect that we have already discussed. This is also correct statement. That cascading effect refers to a tax levied on every goods or services at every stage of production. So, both the statements are correct. So, that is why C part is the correct answer. Next question, consider the following statements about Yellow Sea. The Yellow Sea is bordered by Japan. No, we have already seen. It is bordered by North Korea, South Korea, and China, right? The Yellow River and Yangtze River drains into Yellow Sea. See, the Yellow River, also known as Huanghe River, and this is the second largest river in the China. It drains into Yellow Sea. That is the correct statement. But what about Yangtze River? Yangtze River is the largest river of the China, but it drains into East China Sea. So, this statement is also incorrect. Answer would be D, none of the above. Third question, consider the following statements regarding leprosy in India. Leprosy is caused by a virus. No, it is caused by bacterium. And its transmission occurs through respiratory droplets. That is correct. The introduction of clofazimine to the existing combination of dapsone and practicing will reduce the risk that we have seen. This is the correct statement. So answer would be B part. Consider the following statements. Medical research data across the world has been found to be biased towards North European people. That is correct statement. Women have found to be equally represented. No, this is not correct statement. So answer would be A, because it's asking for correct option. So answer would be A. Next question, with respect to National Strategic Plan and Roadmap for Leprosy 2023-27, consider the following statements. It aims to achieve interruption of transmission at district level, envisioned by zero occurrence of new child cases at least 5 consecutive years. This is a correct statement. After achieving interruption of transmission, districts shall move on to achieve elimination of leprosy as a disease with zero new cases for at least 3 consecutive years. So this statement is also correct. So answer would be C part. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Let's move to the means practice question. The question is asking, what are the key challenges and the biases associated with medical research data? So we have to separately discuss what are the key challenges and what are the biases in the medical research data. So what could be the key challenges? Like logistical issues are there, right? Secondly, analyzing large data is also taking too much time, too much expertise, and that is also a key challenge. Third is who are giving their own data. So data providers are also a bigger challenge, a very big challenge in this medical research data analysis, because people are not willing to give their data voluntarily, and there is also ethical challenges involved into this medical research data or collection of medical research data. There are certain biases that we have already discussed in our analysis. So how to start this answer? We need to introduce with the help of importance of medical research data, and in the body part we need to separately discuss key challenges and the biases, right? So what could be the biases? Lack of genetic data for African and Asian nations. Secondly, lack of proper gender representation that we have already seen. Bias towards North Europe in medical research. And lastly, incomplete understanding of genomes like CYP, D6 that we have already seen. In conclusion, we need to focus on gender and racial inclusivity in medical data. We need to avoid red herring fallacy. What is red herring fallacy? Like, we have to accept this, that this is because of biases in the research, and we don't have to argue that this is just a mutation in the DNA, right? And enforce UN covenant on right to enjoy benefits of scientific progress. And this is how we have to conclude our discussion. If you like our initiative, please do like, share, and subscribe with your friends. Thank you so much.